There is a vast body of Catholic prophecies, especially from saints, which refer to the possibility of a Third World War. According to these predictions, there would be a confrontation between nations with the presence of specific invaders who, in the end, would be defeated. These prophecies also highlight the appearance of a great monarch and an angelic pope, figures who would lead a political and spiritual restoration throughout the world, bringing a new era of peace and harmony after a turbulent period. Observing the signs of our times, some believe that we are on the brink of a Third World War. However, there are those who interpret that before this scenario is fully realized, a long period of conflict and instability would still be necessary for such conditions to mature. Others even consider that a possible coming war would not necessarily be the third, but a fourth war because of unresolved differences in past wars. In this context of uncertainty, it is worth revisiting lesser-known prophecies, compiled by scholars such as Father Gerald Couleton in his 2009 work, The Prophets in Our Times. This book brings together a series of predictions, highlighting the role of the Great Monarch, a central figure in Catholic prophecies. According to these sources, this monarch would bring order and restore the Christian faith in Europe, emerging from a period of chaos and tribulation. At his side would be the Angelic Pope, a spiritual leader who would face great challenges, but who would also lead the Church into an era of peace and renewal. The prophecies discussed by Couleton also speak of a time of purification for humanity, marked by catastrophic events, wars and crises that would precede the arrival of a renewed spiritual era. This period, called the end times, would not represent the literal end of the world, but the end of an era of corruption and disorder, followed by the transformation of humanity. While many turn to well-known prophecies, such as those of Maria Julia Jane, there are several others that present different perspectives on these future times. For example, Saint Methodius of Patara, a 4th century saint in Asia Minor, said that there would be a time when Christ's enemies would rise up triumphantly. According to him, the enemies, identified as Islamic forces, would say, "We have subjugated the earth and all its inhabitants, and Christians cannot escape our hands." These visions, although distant in time, offer a reading that provokes profound reflections on the future of faith and humanity. The Catholic prophecies describe a great monarch who will rise up with overwhelming fury against the enemies of the Christian faith. Waving his sword, he will descend on the opponents of Christianity with implacable force, defeating them and bringing an era of peace and tranquility. With this victory, the priests will finally be freed from their anxieties and will be able to serve without the burden of oppression and fear. It is said that before their appearance, the descendants of Ishmael will rise up and bring with them 4 devastating plagues upon the land, including calamities, destruction, and depopulation. However, according to the prophecy, God will allow this invasion not out of divine favor, but as a way of punishing Christians who have disregarded his laws by abandoning divine teachings and embracing disobedience. A call to action echoes in these predictions, summoning the faithful to unite. Let's stop and stand up. Peace be upon you. Thus, the prophecy suggests that punishment will have been sufficiently meted out to the disobedient, and that the moment of redemption will draw near. In a mystical city, known as the City of the Seven Hills, a man with a sober expression will be identified, standing on 2 pillars. An angelic voice will confirm that he is the chosen one, proclaiming him king and handing him a sword with the command to be strong and courageous in order to defeat his enemies. The great monarch will march against the descendants of Ishmael and other nations described as infidels. He will divide his opponents into 3 distinct groups. 1/3 will be defeated by the sword, another will be converted and baptized, while the rest will be subjugated in the east. In his expeditions, he will bring abundance to his people, and the riches of the earth will be revealed, with prosperity for all. There will be no more poverty, and the land will produce fruitfully, bearing fruit 100-fold. With the end of conflicts, weapons will be transformed into working tools, such as plowshares and scythes. This monarch will reign with wisdom and justice for 35 years, leading humanity into an era of harmony. Saint Bridget of Sweden, a 14th century figure and patron saint of Europe, also predicted a great war that would end when an emperor was chosen under the sign of the cross. This emperor, Saint Bridget prophesies, will not only triumph, but will also destroy the Jewish and Muslim sects, restore the grandiose church of Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, Turkey, and bring peace and prosperity to the whole earth. Under his leadership, new cities will flourish in various regions, symbolizing the rebirth and renewal that will mark this new era of peace. Saint Francis of Paola, a 14th century saint from Calabria, Italy, described the figure of the great Catholic monarch in his visions as a formidable leader, a true captain and prince of holy men. This monarch will be surrounded by followers he calls bearers of the cross of Jesus Christ, holy men and warriors who, united with their captain, will fight fervently against the heresies, tyrannies, and injustices of the world. This great army of saints will be distinguished not only by their faith, but also by their strength, knowledge, and virtue, emerging as the best men of their time. The Great Monarch's mission will be grand and wide-ranging. He will seek to reform God's church through these faithful followers, aiming to restore Christian values and ensure that the faith flourishes again in a time full of tribulation. Under his leadership, his men will strive in a dual domain, both temporal and spiritual, and support God's church until the end of time. Prophecy says that he will eradicate false doctrines and directly combat the power of Islam, extending its influence and dominion from east to west in a universal union in which all nations will worship God according to Catholic teachings. During his rule, Saint Francis of Paola predicts that wise and just men will flourish, justice will be loved, and peace will reign throughout the earth. This great monarch, guided by the order of the Archangel, will expel the Muslim occupiers from Europe, confining them to the Crescent, while only Christians will prevail in Europe. He will rule from Constantinople, now Istanbul, ushering in an era of world peace and prosperity. In addition to this vision, Abbot Green Indotrani, in the 13th century, also prophesied the emergence of a great Catholic monarch. He spoke of a pious and just king who would restore order, peace, and the Christian faith to Europe after a period of tribulation and disorder. His predictions describe a future purification of the Church, preparing the ground for a new era of spirituality in which the Christian faith will flourish with renewed strength. This vision of a spiritual rebirth represents a hope for better times, in which the power of Christianity will grow stronger and humanity will experience a new period of harmony and unity. These prophecies about the great monarch and the Pope indicate that both will not only lead the restoration of the Church, but will also be responsible for reforming and defending authentic Catholic doctrine. A surprising detail of the predictions is the context of devastation. It is said that nations will be at war for a period of 4 years, resulting in massive destruction in various parts of the world. During this dark time, all sects will be eradicated, and the city seen as the capital of the world will fall. However, there is a sign of hope. The prophecy states that the Pope, bearing the sign of redemption on his forehead, will cross the sea after the victory alongside the great monarch. Peace will reign on earth, but for this significant event to take place, a precise and specific time will be needed. The forecast establishes dates for this feat. The Pope will cross the sea in a year in which some important feasts coincide with important dates in the Christian calendar. Thus, the Feast of St. George on April 23rd will fall on Good Friday. The Feast of St. Mark on April 25th will be celebrated on Easter Sunday. The Feast of St. Anthony on June 13th will coincide with Pentecost, and the Feast of St. John the Baptist on June 24th will fall on Corpus Christi. According to calculations, these coincidences will take place in 2038. The prophecy therefore suggests that the Pope will cross the sea that year. This indicates that the war should end in 2037 and that it will probably have begun between 2033 and 2034. These predictions leave us with an intriguing question. Is this war referring to the Third World War or to a fourth war, which would occur after other global crises? These are some of the lesser-known Catholic prophecies about the emergence of a period of war, a possible Third World War, or even a fourth. If you like this content, help us share this message. Leave your comment below, Mark that you liked the video and share it with friends who are interested in prophetic topics. We want to know your opinion. Do you think the Third World War is closer than we think or still far away? Thank you for watching this video. Leave your like and subscribe to the Living Hope channel on YouTube. Activate notifications by clicking on the bell to receive other publications.